You'll be ahead of the Panthers.
That's good.
But you'll have the worst attack in the league.
That's bad.
You'll be 2 places ahead of the Roosters.
That's good.
You'll be in 14th place. That's bad.
Can I go now?
Severe lack of cooling oil. Let's go!
Woo! Hurrah! Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Joust. Kia ora. My name is Liam. I'm joined, as we always will be now, by Sam. We got your listener feedback, Joust. We heard what you had to say, and you never want nag in a room together with me. Again, we appreciate that. Welcome back to this side of the button, Sam. 2 weeks in a row.
Thank you,
mate. 2 weeks in a row. What a wonderful, wonderful, resounding endorsement of your skills of last
just?
week.
And I was over here, there, now I'm here.
Where will you be next week?
I know.
Nobody
Part of the
knows.
table. I could be over here. I could be there. I could be here.
And of course, joining us as he always does is our musical guest for the week, Mr. Third Wind. Take it away, Thirds.
Nights we are sucking again. It's that time of the year. We just keep on sucking. When will it end? And I love you. Yes, I love you. Oh, I love you. Oh, I love you.
Oh, that was lovely.
Thank you, Mr. Wind. Now, speaking of things that we love but we haven't seen in a while like that, now we were talking just before we came on the show about the gobble dog. Now,
Yes.
I can't remember how it came up. Maybe you had a packet of chips on your way to the show. I don't know.
Yeah.
But where the hell, what kind of fever dream was running through some, poor advertising intern's brain that they came up with the gobble dog? What on earth was the gobble dog?
It must be like a Jim Henson Australian,
There's a lot of work. Yeah, a lot of work went into the puppetry of the gobble dog.
Well, remember a couple of years back, what was it, 4 or 5 years ago, with the stoner gremlin in the Liberal Party ads? Remember
The
that?
what?
Remember
No,
that?
I don't remember that.
It was like an anti marijuana ad.
Oh, I do remember that,
And
where
it's
they
like
said
a sloth
marijuana
thing.
is bad, it'll kill you.
Yeah, and that
You'll
was a hell of a
overdose
puppet.
on the pots.
And I think that's probably the last time I saw like a lot of money spent on a big puppet in an
So
ad.
you reckon that maybe it was an Australian subsidiary of Jim Henson?
Well, it was hey, it's Saturday, Euro. Everyone loved a puppet.
It was a weird
big
period of-
birds and stuff on
Yeah,
there.
like the maybe mid 80s to, I guess, early 2000s. Puppets were everywhere. You couldn't move without bumping into some sort of adult-oriented comedy puppet.
Half my
Where
friends
did
were
the
puppets. Yeah.
Where did the puppets go?
I don't know whether. Well, I know where the big dog puppet went. It went under a sink for many years, only to resurface, and then whoever had to just get inside of it again. And there were things living in that. I can tell you,
Must have been a big
bad things living in that puppet.
I'd forgotten until you've just brought it up here on the image screen how scary the gobbledock really was. That
Oh,
thing's
yeah.
terrifying. It's got like troll hair.
Yeah.
From the troll dolls
and there-
type thing.
and kind of that kind of very common face we have now, where, a lady's been into the bees, made a couple of Horcruxes, kind of look to her.
He has. It does seem to be the case that who was the first director of the first Harry Potter movie to sort of capture Voldemort?
Capture him.
Yeah, so he's molded off that.
Oh, yeah,
he's
sorry,
really
he's
molded
like,
off
oh,
that.
that's like the back of the head of Quirrell, you reckon?
Yeah, the back of the
right.
head of Quirrell. That's exactly what that looks like.
He's
which
kind of
is
got like
terrifying.
a cleft lip too.
Yeah.
It's bizarre.
It's
what's
really an
happened.
odd thing. But you know what's not bizarre, Sam?
What's that?
Men who know how to fix things, men who know that when something goes wrong, they say, I can fix this. And of course, we'll be joined at the Joust family, as we always are, by Cade Chesworth, the appliance guy. Now, Sam, I've discussed this at length with Nagy. We're not men. Are you a man?
I've tried to
Do
be
you know how
one.
to fix things?
I've tried to be one, mate, but it just hasn't happened for
It's
me.
tough, isn't it?
Yeah, I
you
know. Where do you find this?
But then the thing is, and this is again coming back to the generations ahead of us, they say, you millennials, they say, you can't fix anything. It was their job to teach us to fix it.
Yes, exactly. I remember my dad built a whole room in the house. A whole room.
An entire room.
And I don't know how to build a room.
Was there electricity piped into the room?
Yeah, there was everything. Yeah,
Who taught him?
PowerPoints. Well, it just kind of cut off half of the room. Anyway, it was a pretty good room. Side note, it's only happened because I stole my brother's bed, technically, in a bet that went wrong.
Okay.
And so in order to appease the family dynamic, he built another room. But he did that on a whim, just
So
to
you kind
solve
of-
an argument. I couldn't solve an argument by building a room. Could you?
I couldn't, no. I couldn't solve an argument through talking it out. So basically, he's intervened in an armed coup in the family
Yes.
and built a room to quell the coup.
Yeah, exactly. It's like if you just added an extra country and, ceded land from other places
It's like
and
they
made it.
made Canberra
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
to
It's
kind
like
of
if
stop the fight between
the
Sydney
middle,
and
yeah.
Melbourne. yeah.
Exactly. The Canberra. He made a Canberra in our
But
household.
pray tell, did he then pass those skills on to you and say, this is how you build a room?
Never, mate.
If you need a room built, call Cade Chesworth.
Yeah, exactly.
If you need appliances fixed in a room, maybe don't ask him to build a whole room. You might not know how. But reach out to Cade Chesworth, the appliance guy. He's an experienced professional.
What's that phone number again?
0414 760 542.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Just rolls off the tongue.
That's delightful, yeah. Quality workmanship, prompt and reliable. The appliance guy, Cade Chesworth, he's our guy. And as we always do at the Joust, we're going to move straight to the appliance guy into the news.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I learned being in the country of New Zealand is that they have a lot of parts of that country with no mobile reception. So a lot of this news just
Happier for it, I imagine.
Oh, absolutely. It was great. I didn't hear a single piece of news while I was gone, either NRL or otherwise. So this is all news to me, as it is all news to you, Joust, as if you keep your head in the sand, as I did for 2 weeks. It was very enjoyable. But let's start with something that's obviously been flipping and flopping for the last 2 years, maybe 3, maybe even 4. They're pretty fucking happy over there in North Sydney because apparently a deal has been struck, an in-principle agreement for the North Sydney Bears to finally make their triumphant return
I've got to
in
ask you.
Western Australia.
I've got to ask you, Liam. Are you happy?
Always, absolutely. The more heritage and the more history we bring back to rugby league, I think is great. As we have discussed in the past on the show, they'll never be my number one team. They won't be my main flame, but they'll always be, my fallback option.
Are they still the Bears to you?
Absolutely. As long as there's a picture of a bear and there's red and black, they will always be the Bears to me. Now, this...
Western Bears. Western Bears.
Thank you, Mr. Wind.
Thank you, Mr. Win. But of course, given the way that this has flip-flopped over the last, half decade that this seems to be going on, I'll believe it when the Western Bears are running onto the field at Optus Stadium in Perth, whenever that may be.
That's a hell of a stadium to fill out all the time,
Wonderful
isn't it?
stadium,
It's
yeah.
like, what is that, 60,000, 80,000?
I think 60, 65. Yeah, and they always sell it out for Origin as well. It's one of those modern stadiums as well. You look at it from the outside, it doesn't look like a stadium. It looks more like a light show than anything.
What do you think about bringing back the dancing bear as a mascot? Like in a live bear, like they did
I'd
in
be upset if they didn't.
Bear.
like in medieval times, they had the
Yeah.
dancing bear.
I think they
You
definitely
can still
should.
do it.
You'd be missing a trick.
If you can have a horse, you can have a bear, right?
And-
Still got dancing bears in Russia,
And I think
we don't
animal-
talk to them much anymore, Mr. Button.
don't we?
Well, we should. I think animal tranquilization technology has come far enough that we could have a dancing bear interacting with maybe the cheerleaders. They'd have those big, thick suits on, where they train the
Yeah.
attack dogs, I think.
And make a splash.
Hmm.
Because the Vlandis and the Abdos of the world are all about splashing, aren't they?
They'd love a splash.
Love a
They
splash.
love a splash. Now, this is going completely off on a tangent, but now we've got the Western Bears in Perth, an in-principle agreement. Obviously, Magic Round has been sort of riveted into Brisbane. Magic Round in Perth. Sam, thoughts?
Oh, Magic Round in Perth.
Hmm.
I mean, you've got family over Perth. You've been to Perth.
I do. My sister and my brother-in-law live in Fremantle.
Do they care?
I don't know. Now, my brother-in-law does because he's an ardent Broncos fan, so he cares about rugby league. And I'm sure he'd buy a season tickets holder to the Bears if they were the Western Bears, because me and my dad would buy it for him as a wonderful gift, of course. But I think a Magic Round weekend in Perth would be a
You
great
could book
idea.
Eskimo Joe.
They're from Perth, are they?
Yeah, you could have a ritual burning of Birds of Tokyo.
They're from Perth?
Yeah.
See, I don't know any music. I always rely on you guys for music things. So I'm glad you were able to mention
I could
some
have said
bands.
anything.
I know of those bands. You
Yeah.
could have. You
Yeah.
could have said anything. They could bring ABBA out of retirement, maybe.
Well, they've got that kind of German that moved to South Africa, moved to Western Australia
lots
kind of vibe. to
Lots
them.
of boars in Western
walked
Australia,
away
as far as I know.
The old German Argentinians.
Yeah.
That thing about you don't ask a South African why they moved to the West Australian.
And never
in
ask
the
an
90s.
Argentinian why their surname is, or their first name is like Klaus or something. You just don't ask that. So I think it's a great idea, but again, I'll believe it when they're running out because it keeps happening. We
Yes.
keep being promised. Yes, we'll have rugby league in Western Australia.
What changed?
No, we
here?
won't have.
What changed? Here? They got more money.
I think it was a $50 million guarantee.
Ooh,
that-
from
like-
whom to whom?
From a bear to Vlandis and Abdo. I know. I think
like that.
They've just gone
A
around
brown
to-
bear bag.
They've gone around to various zoos of the world and just dipped into the bear's pocket change, and that's where it's come from. I believe it was a $50 million assurance. But where does that leave Papua New Guinea? Because that's certainly gone quiet.
Same
hasn't
place,
it?
I'd hope. Like
Yeah.
just above Australia,
I hope
just
so,
below.
Is it the
Indonesia?
tariffs? Is it the tariffs that are making Papua New
Well, the tariffs
Guinea?
can't help. There was news recently, which we didn't put in the news because we weren't that up to date. This is all news to us, so we weren't getting actual news to put into the news because it'd be too much. But what we do have is that they were going to start putting a couple of like PNG players outside the cap that you can have in your team,
I
so you
saw
can
that.
so you can get like some of these guys coming through. So by the time they do get a team, you can hit the ground running.
I think that's a grand idea. And I think that'll also obviously be a big part of the Western Bears would be the grassroots movement. You want rugby league in WA to be powered by Western Australians.
Do they still have a rugby team? Super Rugby?
Yeah,
What do they call that now?
Yeah, they got kicked out of the Western Force. Got kicked out of Super Rugby. The owner started his own weird little rugby
Was that
tournament.
the Forest?
Global Rapid Rugby by Twiggy Forrest.
Twiggy Forest.
He started his own thing, and then no one watched it, and they got invited back to Super Rugby, and he said that was a success. It worked really well, and it didn't. It was terrible. So I think there's definitely an appetite for rugby league in the West Coast, and the Western Reds, they were pretty successful. Just turns out it's very expensive to fly back and forth, and when your only sponsor's cash converters, you're not covering the bills.
Yeah, no. What's that bloody trip from? I mean, it happens in the A League all the time, but the Wellington.
Oh,
to,
I know nothing about that.
But the Wellington to Perth trip.
That's too much.
The Auckland to Perth trip
Yeah.
is hairy business.
That's it. If you're the Warriors, you're not playing in Perth, and if you're the Western Bears, you're not playing in Auckland. I think that should be a rule.
100%. When the Toronto Wolfpack were in, would that flight have been longer than the Perth to?
Oh, it would have been
New
pretty
Zealand?
long. Yeah, I'd say it'd be about the same.
Yeah, okay.
10 hours maybe. I don't know.
But it's a long way to go, isn't it?
Yeah,
Long
it's
way
a
to
long
go.
way to go to do not much.
Yeah, exactly.
You're flying for 10 hours. You're doing rugby league for an hour and a half. You're flying back for 10 hours. It's a lot for very little return.
So yeah, I live currently in the north of Sydney, and the bear stuff all over the place. So
Yeah.
they must be bloody
It's brilliant.
chuffed.
Yeah,
they never
it was like
died.
when I went
I've
down-
never really been in a place that the love for a club that no longer exists has kept going. After
Yeah,
they
well, when
got
I went
killed.
down last year for my annual pilgrimage to watch the Bears play the Knights, there was Bears merchandise everywhere. Walking through the streets of North Sydney, there was Bears merchandise. I couldn't get a table at the pub across the road before the game because there were so many Bears fans, everyone in red and black. It's a beloved institution. It's a suburban heritage institution, and I'm bloody glad that they're coming back.
Western Bears.
If not just for my love of the Bears, for my love of rugby league and all the traditions surrounding it. So I think wonderful, bring them back, and we'll report back to you next week, Jousters, when the NRL have pulled the license and said you're not getting the Bears.
What a
Perth.
dumb idea.
Oh, it's a dumb idea.
They're
Terrible
horrendous.
idea.
We should never
Speaking
thought
of
about it.
horrendous things now, again, I went away for 10 days and there was nothing about Lockie Galvin or the West Tigers. And then I came back after 10 days and everything was all about Lockie Galvin and the West Tigers. So I'm going to need you, Sam, to catch me up a bit here. What the hell has happened in the last 2 weeks surrounding Lockie Galvin and the West Tigers?
Well, Lockie Galvin plays for the Tigers, and the Tigers thought, well,
Pretty
if you're-
well, too.
If you're already playing for us, how about the biggest contract we could offer a young fella like you? To which
Yeah.
he said, no, I hate the place, burn it down. I don't like the coach. I don't like anything. I want to go
I did
elsewhere.
see that. That was this seemed to be the consensus from your talk last week with Nagy was that I hate the players, I hate the club, I hate the whole region. Stuff you. You can go to hell, offer me more money, and see what happens. I'll still say no.
So the Tigers, for the first time, pay him the money. But, the Tigers, to their credit, for the first time, show their backbone. And we're actually like, you know what, we'll just...
Again, they've not been known for.
No. How do you build a tiger without a backbone? Seriously. What does that even look like?
Pretty poorly, apparently.
AI? Anyone? Generative AI? Anyone? No. But Shane Richardson, big
Yeah.
fella that leads the Tigers, basically just came out and supported the fact that they dropped into reserve grade. And when they dropped into reserve grade, Jerome Luai, the socially media conscious person that he is,
He loves social media, doesn't he?
flicked his little anime inspiration up there, saying, together strong or something. It's a couple of slides for later, Mr.
Because that was the thing that surprised me the most was
Team first.
was the bullying thing that came out. I didn't know that bullying was still
the other
a
one's
thing.
just a bit of WWE music
Yeah.
knowledge between friends. They got out of hand.
Just a couple of boys having a giggle on the socials.
Are they meant to say nothing? Seriously, like if something goes down at your club, you're just meant to just be a robot and be quiet and just take it on the chin and
Well,
not say anything to anybody.
Well, now it's the constant rugby league sort of. What's the thing where it's one thing but it's another thing but it's neither of them?
No. it's
Yeah,
not-
the
is it-
dichotomy,
is it a
maybe.
dichotomy?
Where the rugby league public, they say, we want characters. We want people who are going to go out and say silly things and have a bit of fun. And then something like this happens. We say, oh, that's bullying. You can't do that. What do you want? Do you want characters in the game? Do you want people having a bit of a fun at each other's expenses? Or do you want everyone just to shut up and not say anything?
Is that the two eras of how rugby league was? There was like the footy show era where it was fun and people were enjoying it, which was just like, dumb fun.
It was great. What
And
a great
then
era of
the
rugby league.
ESPN American commentary side of thing came into it, where now we're going through people's bins trying to find out if they sniffed somebody's hanky at a pub or something, and it's just all a bit. It's a bit batshit, isn't it?
See, I prefer the old way. I much prefer the old way.
I prefer the old way too, but we can't go back because
I want reporters going through people's bins to find out if they've got one left foot bigger than their right foot, and then we can make jokes at their expense because of that. That was a much better time.
that was a more innocent time. It was, but
was.
I feel like we need a third era. They need to go scorched earth, to borrow a famous phrase from a famous man. We need a third era of something. I don't know what that is. Do we just never hear from them again? Do we leave our phones at the door and go in there?
Well, that's
in
where
cloaks,
we're going. You know,
naked?
again, they call out for rugby league characters, but then we do end up with what you just said: enclosed, naked players in a bloody cupboard or in a credenza somewhere doing nothing. And we don't
Attack of
want
the
that.
Clones. Attack of the Clones is what we've got at the moment. We've got Attack of the Clones. Anyone that
easy.
steps out, they just get cut down, like the guy that played the clone in the original one. He's not in the original one anymore. He's like that. It's not good, Liam.
No, it's not good. It's bad because we like fun here at the Joust. We
Not
don't like
good.
seriousness. We don't like brevity.
No.
Brevity's humor, isn't it? But yeah, no, it's
brevity's just being brief. Being brief.
being a bit brev. But I just thought it was so strange that I left and there was not much happening, and I came back and there was so much happening.
You left the rugby
So
league
much.
sphere of influence,
Yeah,
and you
it's
come
weird.
back and the world's not the same.
I never want to leave it again. It's really confusing.
Yeah, no, all the points are made up, and the points don't matter. What's the Who's Line saying?
Yeah, the points are made
the
up.
game's made up.
The game's made up and the points don't matter. That's what rugby league is turning into, I think.
Yeah.
The game's made up.
Whose
and the
game
points
is it
don't
anyway?
matter.
Whose league is it anyway, everybody?
It's not the players' league anymore.
No.
It's the managers. It's the men with their grubby little fingers
Grubby
getting
little
in
fingers.
around. Grubby little fingers. The game is now belonging to the grubby fingered men.
Yeah. Well, they always win out, don't they?
Yeah.
Because no one can stand to be around them. But they want to be around the places where influence is had.
No.
So
Terrible.
they
Terrible.
win.
I
Grubby
don't like it.
Little fingers.
Now, from grubby little fingers onto what is a wonderful rugby league milestone. There's no grubby fingers involved here.
No grubby
We've
fingers?
got the Good Friday rugby league
Oh,
game,
yes.
of course, between South Sydney and the what are they called now? The Western Sydney Bulldogs. Canterbury Bankstown. They're back to Canterbury Bankstown.
I think
Now-
they're just the Bulldogs now. They dropped the
Bulldogs.
Canterbury. It was cleaner. They just
It
dropped
is,
the
yeah.
Canterbury
But
Bankstown.
again, that was from grubby little fingers
Grubby,
people.
yeah.
We want them as Canterbury Bankstown.
You want an identity of the place that you're supporting.
Yeah.
Because, at least we can keep the fake reality alive that all these people are homegrown and come from the areas in which they do. You don't want to be like the NBA.
It's franchises. We don't want franchises in rugby league.
You're just supporting just stars there.
Yeah.
And then where all the local stuff, they don't want the crowd goes away. They don't care
Well,
anymore.
it was like, the great the great Jerome Seinfeld. When you sponsor a North American sporting team, you're cheering for the shirt.
Yeah.
'Cause they move every couple of years. They overturn their rosters every couple of weeks.
Exactly.
You're not following a team.
Yes.
And if you do, your team's going to move 4 times in your lifetime. We don't want that.
100%.
And you don't get scenes like this. You don't get people with a tear in their eye because they're so happy that 65,305 people turned up to watch Canterbury Bankstown Bulldogs, as we're going to call them, against the South Sydney Rabbitohs. I think about 65,000 of those were Canterbury fans, and there was maybe 305 Rabbitohs fans. But it was just great to see. I think the last big crowd like that was 2013, I think, where it was about 60-odd thousand for a regular season game. But it's just wonderful to see.
At the Bulldogs.
No, it was South Sydney also lost the game. I think it was against the Roosters.
Right.
So that would have been their traditional, big.
Well, the Bulldogs have been down for so long. And those guys out there, they show up in numbers when they actually have a team that they care about.
They do, which is odd.
It's like we're so used to seeing ANZ Stadium look like an absolute
Yeah.
empty cavern. They would know.
Bereft of life.
Just like, what is even happening in there? It's like, the happening in that place. But now...
That was the Mark Wahlberg film, wasn't it?
What? See? You know films,
Is that the line
Liam.
where he goes, no,
Yeah,
what?
it's horrendous. I think it ends up being plants are after them or something. Horrendous. Shyamalan. You've watched much Shyamalan? He only gets worse.
Yeah, he's not
He
getting
only
better.
gets worse.
He's not getting better. But I think it's fantastic to see 65,000 people turn out. And this is what happens when you have good historical heritage suburban teams. These aren't franchises playing these games. These are the Berries up against the Cardinal and Myrtle. They are all that is great in rugby league. Now, if you'd told me 20 years ago that there's going to be 65,000 Bulldogs fans at one game, I would have called every SWAT team in the country in. Because we all remember, of course, Joust is around my age. We remember what the Bulldogs fans used to be.
You remember how big a thing that was that the Lebanese are going to come for us?
They were going to come for us.
There's
man.
more people in Sydney than there are in Lebanon. I'm like, what the hell?
They're going to come
What are we
for
worried
us.
about?
And then Todd Greenberg came in. I'm going to clean it up. We're going to be the family club again. And it actually worked. Because the Bulldogs fans in the early 2000s, were a rowdy bunch, I think, to put it politely.
Yeah, no. They were famously for their,
Well, there was a guy who went over to have a bit of fun with Al Qaeda, and his profile picture on Facebook was a Bulldogs jersey. I think.
Well, we
I
can't
could be
throw
wrong on that,
stones.
but-
I'm pretty sure one of the Barley Nine went to the execution with a South Sydney Till I Die hat on his head. So I think let's not go throw stones.
Fair enough.
But then to go. Can't remember anything from the Knights going today.
No.
no.
Not
Never
that
seen
I'm
any of
aware.
those Knights jerseys in any of those photos on the news.
And
have you?
nor will you.
No.
Nor will you. But one thing that really, I guess, strikes to the heart of a rugby league player, how much deeper of an insult can you make to a rugby league player than flashing a quick heart sign to him?
It's like a red rag to a bull.
Yeah, red rag to Jairo.
Oh,
apparently.
mate. Jai Arrow has led a loveless life.
He has.
And he saw someone giving love willingly and freely in the crowd, incensed.
He didn't know how to respond, did he?
Look, John Sutton there.
John Sutton's having a great time.
There's a man with love in his life.
Yeah, he's taking the love. Maybe that's why Jairo's a bit jealous.
Yeah, he
He
didn't
why is
see
this
it.
bloke throwing hearts at John Sutton? I want the hearts.
He didn't see a half-tanked Canterbury man giving him some insult. He just saw his family in those hands, John Sutton.
He saw love. He saw the love that rugby league can bring to a man.
What did Jairo see? Jairo saw the third dog of his attack somebody that he had to have destroyed by the council. That's what Jairo saw.
Now,
Like the love he used to have for the dog that attacked someone wildly in the street. That's what he saw. John Sutton saw love.
And I'm with John Sutton on it. Rugby league's love.
I see love.
Rugby league is all about good, responsible dog training, which Jairo doesn't seem to understand.
Yeah, it's good to see
Apparently-
Macklemore back at the footy as well. That's what I say. It's good to see
That's it,
Macklemore
he
back at
hasn't
the
really
footy.
shown up since that grand final appearance.
No, we
has he?
chased him out of the country with clubs, I think, at the time.
Well,
Wasn't
'cause
an
he sang
Abbott
it-
government about love?
Well, he
How
sang
dare
about the
you.
gays. You
Oh,
don't do that in rugby league.
How dare you mention their existence?
The very audacity
Yeah,
of,
exactly.
of the Joust NRL
Who was the
podcast.
old the guy that was like the one gay guy in all of the NRL for a while there?
Ian Roberts.
Ian Roberts.
Yeah.
Yes,
Also the hardest man maybe in rugby
Psychopath.
league history.
Yeah, no,
crazy person.
the one
My
gay
God.
guy. That's what he was. It was.
He's the only one.
He
There's
is,
never
yeah,
been
he's-
another.
yeah,
He was.
Yeah.
He's the only openly gay guy.
Yeah, and he came out during his playing years, which as a hard man like that, that's
It's the bravest
it's
thing a man could do.
absolutely is a monumental achievement, and we love Ian Roberts because of it.
Exactly.
Now,
But I believe it was him that chased Macklemore out of the country. He said, "It's for your own good. Get out of here. It's terrible here."
it was with a warning. It's like, well, I'm not kicking you out because for your own good, bud.
Yeah,
For your own
exactly.
good.
You know, we're not ready for you yet.
No, we're not ready yet.
Come back in 2090.
Now, speaking of things we're not ready yet for, as Newcastle faithful, obviously we've got our new shiny toy, our 5/8 Lion Brown, according
DeLion
to
Brown.
this fantastic publication that we've got this story from. Now, what better way to sort of reverse your fortunes on a rugby league field than to just say, I've had enough social media, I'm going to get off social media, and that should fix everything. Sam, is that the fix for Dylan Brown? Is that where things turn for him? He's got rid of Instagram. All of a sudden, he's going to win the Dally M. Is it that simple, Sam?
It is. It is. He's 100% correct. This is totally going to turn every fortune around, and we're going to get the greatest player anyone has ever seen play the game. Look at that arm. That's an arm. A strong man.
Well, see, that's his arm. It's gotten so weak because he hasn't Instagrammed in 3 days. It's because all these youths, the youths who are in charge of rugby league now, they just doom scroll all the time.
Oh, it doesn't take much
If they're
for the...
training, they're doom scrolling. If they're sitting on the toilet, we all do that on the toilet.
yeah.
If they're on the way to training, they're doom scrolling and driving with one arm.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really dangerous.
Exactly.
So get off social media. I think it's a great
Everybody,
idea.
come
from
to
Dylan
us
Brown.
for $1.5 million. Never have to pick up a phone again, mate. People
Now-
will pick up their phone for you for that money.
That's
wild money.
My concern is that as soon as he moves to Newcastle, he jumps straight back on social media, opens his Tinder account,
Yeah, yeah.
and we don't see him for weeks and weeks.
Yeah, he gets the second wave of girls after the Ponga wave.
Oh, well, I was going to say, dare he move in with Kalen Ponga and have the
He should.
Ponga Connor
Just
Watson?
do it, mate.
Yeah.
Go full Connor Watson on this.
The Ponga Connor Watson
You
sort of black hole in Newcastle.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing. Because Kurt Mann didn't live... Oh, did he end up living with him? I can't remember.
They shared the cubicle, but did they
Yeah.
share a home?
Yes.
I'm not too sure. I don't think so, because friend of the show, Ollie Sterling, once saw Kurt Mann at IGA New Lambton buying chicken schnitzels. So I think he was a bit further outside of Merriweather. He
Yes,
maybe
right.
located more towards Newcastle's inner... What would you call New Lambton? The inner west?
It is the heart.
What is the west?
It's
of-
the heart
yeah.
of this whole town. You go to New Lambton, everywhere is 10 minutes. That's 10 minutes, that 10. It's perfect. It's like the hub. They should have
But
built,
there's
they
not
built
much
around
there.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
No, what's there is lovely. It's a beautiful
Oh,
place
man, you
to
ever been to
live.
the Duke? It's the most average pub there is.
Yeah, don't worry about the Duke. You go to the Black
Bar
Butt Tavern.
121.
The Black Butt Tavern.
Fucking black.
My old weed dealer used to live up the hill from the Black Butt Tavern, and I don't know if you guys know this about drug dealers. They're not very reliable.
Oh, the Black Butt Hotel.
Black
sorry.
Butt Hotel. So I'd message him and say, "Hey, what's happening?" And I would go always and have like 2 or 3 schooners before he'd get back to me and say, "Hi, come on up and say good day." So that's my only experience at the Black Butt Hotel.
No, a lot of weird activity happens around there. I believe.
Rightly so.
You know, I've seen
Well, it's because everything's 10
famous
minutes away.
Australian chefs get
Yeah.
served.
Everything's 10 minutes away, like you said. It's perfect. It's wonderful.
Everything's 10 minutes away.
Yeah.
Everything's
But
10 minutes
look,
away.
I think you're right. This is exactly what Dylan Brown needs to bring him to the promised land
Exactly.
of being the best rugby league player the world has to see.
That's what we want. And have you seen this crazy, like, I think the mole, like, farted out some words onto a document.
That's not like the mole.
And then he's just like, oh, what if I throw a deal like Guy Pearce Paul, Inspector Gadget? He'd throw in there, we'll get Dylan Brown this year. Like, I would rather not do that.
I am with you on that one. Yeah, let's not do that. Let's forget about that. Mole's just shitting out rubbish as he always does. He gets 1 in every 20 right, and then he gives his big
I'd rather
boom.
play Guy Pearce Paul at 6 and not have
That
Dylan
would be
Brown
sick.
ever again.
That would
Like,
be so good.
Yeah.
Should we put that to the... Oh, now,
Brownie,
well,
where are you, Brownie?
we don't have Peter Parsi yet. He still sees us as competition for the chairman's role, but we'll pop back to that in a bit. I think we've got more to say about the Newcastle Knights Rugby League chairman when we get to the game.
Speaking of Parramatta,
review.
though.
Speaking of Parramatta. Now, next up, we've got an interesting thing, and I think Mr. Third Wind has something to say about our Penny Lane.
Oh,
here.
well, for a sec, just before we get to Mr. Wind, I just want
I've
to
never
say,
done the musical cue. I apologise.
the great man, Sean Lane, great man. Oh, went to bat. That's a bit early. Great man. Do you think he's a great man?
He's an
Lane?
alright fella.
He's an all right fella.
Someone once said this about Zach Lomax, and I think it applies to Sean Lane as well. It looks like he still uses a Velcro surf wallet. Like he's still got a Rip Curl Velcro wallet in his pocket.
He's a bit of a double barrel shotgun inspector too, in terms of less the eyes and the distance between
And if you're
them.
wondering, Joust, is his neck there that you can see, that is not AI.
No, it's
Everything
not
else
AI.
below the neck is AI. That's his actual neck.
That is, he doesn't have that baby arm,
No.
but he does have that neck.
Yeah.
But he's taking a sabbatical, Liam.
Now,
Remember that
I'm
year
all-
when he was fantastic? He was like a
best
god.
second rower in the comp for
Yeah.
a year.
And what happened there? How do you forget that? I don't understand that. Does your
That's
body
why he's
just
taking
slow
a
down?
sabbatical, maybe.
Maybe it's
yeah.
taking a sabbatical.
So I think that's good. Now, we're of the generation where we understand and appreciate that people have mental struggles from time to time. And if you need a bit of time off work, a bit of time off work.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fine.
It's
I think
nothing wrong
any
with
one
it.
of us in our jobs, if we were having a bit of a rough day,
And if I had to show up every
Yeah.
day at work and Mitchell Moses was there,
that would make it so much worse.
sabbatical right there and then.
Yeah.
Right
You
there.
reckon-
Family. It's the family.
Mitch Moses' leave of absence should be, one of its things.
Yeah.
You got annual leave, you got sick leave, and you got Mitchell Moses
Sick
leave.
of Mitch Moses.
Exactly. If he's around, I'm allowed to not be there.
I think that's very reasonable.
Yeah,
I think that's fair.
I think it's very fair too.
Yeah, and I'm sure that was part of the clauses that you sign these days with Parramatta. They built in the Mitch Moses clause.
Yeah, exactly. Well, his little cousin there, Isaac, he would have built that in for him.
He would
Anyway,
have, yeah.
I'm not really looking forward to the second half, Liam, but we should probably get there.
I agree. I'm not looking forward to it either, but we should get there. Take it away, Mr. Third.
Shawnee Lane is taking a sabbatical. Well, on Tuesday he's got a meeting with the Queen. I saw him outside a club with a mask in the pouring rain. Very strange. Shawnee Lane is in my eyes and in my ears. Not there on a green suburban field. He's not playing football anymore. Well, baby, I hear the Blues are calling, and we have lost to the Sharks. And if we seem a bit confused, well, hey, maybe. Well, they got us pegged. Well, I don't know what to do when we lose to the Sharks. That's 4 in a row. Coming 14th all over that table. What's the team to do? Good night, Newcastle. We love you.
Welcome back for the second half of the Joust. Now, this is a half of a podcast I was not looking forward to doing.
No.
On the advice of my psychiatric professional, I didn't actually watch the game when I got home, so I'm going to be flying by the
Dr.
seat.
Fagan, isn't it? Dr.
Yep,
Fagan?
Dr. Fagan, my mental health professional. He said, don't do it, Liam. You had a great time. Don't let the good time be ruined. So I'm sort of going to be leaning on you heavily here, Sam.
A very worrying Roaring
and a
foot.
brief view of the highlights package that we did watch before the game. But Sam, what the hell just happened on that fine Sunday afternoon at Marathon Stadium that I wasn't privy to, and I'm very glad that I wasn't privy to?
Just May things, you know?
Yeah.
Just May things. What we do in May. It's April, isn't it?
It's April.
What were we doing May things in April? We're ahead of schedule. Everything
it.
is going to be all right.
In some ways, the Knights are ahead of schedule, and that's usually to be good. It's better than to be behind the schedule, I guess.
No,
Is
totally.
that a good thing? Can we
Always.
take that as a positive out of this rugby league game that the Knights are ahead of schedule for the year?
Looking forward. That's what I always say.
looking forward.
Looking forward.
There it is. But no, it's just one of those things, you know, you just kind of... I didn't think we were going to do anything, and we didn't.
Yeah.
So, what is it to really
The
say?
Sharks' track record at Marathon Stadium has to be one of the better track records in the rugby league. It seems like every time they come up to bloody Newcastle,
It's
they
a paddling,
really
yeah.
turn it on. It's a paddling.
Yeah.
It's forever a paddling.
Yeah, look, it's just that gallon leftover stink, the spoon stink. You know, you shouldn't stink from a spoon, but we do.
Especially given how long ago the spoon was given, the stinky spoon.
The stinky
It's
spoon.
been so long since the stinky spoon.
If someone offered me a stinky spoon, I'd turn them down.
Oh,
But here
dear.
we are, supporting them every week.
Well, depends what's on the stinky spoon. If it's a spoon of maybe blue cheese and I've got some, wings with hot sauce on it, I'll take the
Oh.
stinky spoon.
Yeah, buffalo wings, blue cheese, go
Yeah.
fuck your mother, I believe is the saying.
It certainly is. But 34 to 14 with a consolation try in the last 2 minutes. It's an ugly scoreline, Sam. It's a scoreline we don't want to see. And I think it really calls into question a bigger picture at the moment in Newcastle in that the Knights are bad.
Yeah, the Knights
are very bad, Sam.
See, last week it was we sucked, but then the Tigers sucked so bad at the second half, it didn't look like on the stat sheet like we should have lost badly. Like,
It wasn't an
a bad-
appropriate
Yes,
reflection of the level of suckage, I
But
guess.
these stats are a reflection of how bad we are. Just everything's less. The
Yeah.
dark blue is lesser than the light blue. It's all bad, Liam.
Well, we're seeing again something that came up in my last episode that I was here for is terrible completion rates. Now, the Knights completed here at 66%, Sam, and I saw an infographic today. Are they still called infographics?
Oh, yes, they are,
Yeah,
yes.
an infographic today where the Newcastle Knights have the lowest completion rate across the first 6 rounds of the NRL, and that's really annoying because that was always the Adam
That's
O'Brien
the only thing we do.
Yeah, that
right?
was the thing that we did. We defend pretty good. We hold onto the ball, and the attack doesn't matter because you're doing everything else okay. Now we're doing everything else
Yeah.
poorly. And where do we go from here?
Yeah, the Homer Simpson defense that we always had of just let the other opposition punch themselves out on our 100% completions, and eventually
Doesn't
the
work.
law of mathematics
Yeah.
will come on our side. But nothing has happened.
No, nothing's happened at all, and we can still hold our hats on having a really, really good defensive record because the points against are still pretty low. But
If we look at the players, Liam, look at the people that we ran out. Can we go 2 slides to the left, Mr. Fingers? The other way, if we could, Mr.
The other way,
Fingers.
of course.
Left.
Uh,
Right.
there we go. One more. Keep 2 more. There we go. 1 more. There we are.
there we go.
All right. Tyson Gamble and Fletcher Sharp.
Tell me about Tyson Gamble and Fletcher Sharp as a halves pairing there, Sam. Tell me all about it. What did they do? What didn't they do? Are they good or are they bad?
That's no spine doctor you want to go to that prescribes you a Fletcher Sharp and a Tyson Gamble.
It is. It's a pretty grim sighting, isn't it?
It's a Fletcher Sharp 6 experiment so dead that bringing it out again is almost like a meme.
I think it might be, but Adam O'Brien seems to have taken the critiquing that we offered last year of stop mucking around with the spine, and he's taken it to heart to the point where he's now played Fletcher Sharp for 6 rounds, which we saw such promise in the first few, but now it's been a pretty bad couple that he's only changed it due to injuries.
I liked the theory that you have another fast boy out there, so you got to look at that guy, and then Ponga will have some space.
Yeah.
But that space we saw against the Dolphins, we didn't really see it against the Tigers when we won in the first round, but we saw it a bit against the Dolphins.
Yeah.
When there was open play, we look amazing. But if the whole thing is just, cut down Ponga and then let the other guys beat you, we're going to lose.
Which that's been the Knights' way for so long, and I thought this year we're finally going away from that. I thought, oh, good, we have other attacking weapons we can use outside of Kalen Ponga. But that does not seem to have come to pass, Sam.
But I'm happy we got Inspector Gadget back. He had a lovely little assist there for I think it was last try, and then they did the exact same move again, and our boy dropped it on the wing. But that's
it.
okay.
That offload was a bit more speculative, but it's good to see him utilising the Go-Go Gadget arms because that's what we wanted from KPP when he signed up. We want those Go-Go Gadget arms.
And I think those second row of loss is what has hurt us because it is, Dylan Lucas, Inspector Gadget. That is a good thing. Do we have a name for Dylan Lucas?
Balance. I don't think we do yet. Something will come up. Something will pop up. It has to happen organically.
But no, we need at least to have some firing second rowers to at least, we need the magician's trick. Look at this hand while this one does something.
Yeah.
And at the
The
moment,
old Lockie Miller at fullback with
Exactly.
Taylor Ponga at 5'8".
at the moment we're
fleet
just a
intervening.
shit magician with his cock out, doing nothing. Absolutely nothing.
That's not the kind of magician I paid
No,
to see.
you can't get kids watching
you-
that.
Want to see a
That's it.
good one with
That's
his
not-
cock out.
That's not drawing a crowd to bloody hex some RSL of a Friday night.
Exactly. It's like if you're doing this saw-through woman trick with a see-through box. You're like, you're not fooling anybody.
Well, you remember that show of the masked
Gotta cut
magician where he revealed all the magician's
Oh,
tricks
yes.
to the world?
And he was like ostracized, so he had to wear a
Yeah.
mask like Sean Lane.
Well, of course, he wore the Sean Lane mask because he was ostracized. He took a sabbatical and said, I'm just spoiling it for everyone. And he said, here's all the tricks of the trade.
That was a fascinating watch. I really
Yeah.
just used to enjoy that show. It used to be on like at 7 o'clock at a night.
Yeah.
You watch a few Gobbledock ads. You settle down for some nice magician tricks.
Give me a second.
And the magician comes
Is that MF Doom? That looks like MF Doom.
But I think it's fair to say that the less said about this game, the better. But of course, there are certain traditions on the show that we have to
Oh,
upkeep.
yes. Yeah, well, Nagy, Nagy. Whoa, I'm sorry. I used to be in that chair. I was talking to Nagy. It's
compliment.
getting wild in here. It's getting
I
wild.
take it as a compliment, Jousters.
No. But, if we do have a hat,
Yeah.
we have to have both the on and off setting of the hat. So I guess we should start, as is tradition, with the hat being off.
I would like to give my hats off this week. Again, having not watched the game, I would like to give my hats off to the fine apples of New Zealand. Maybe the best apples I've ever had. We bought a bunch of them, mostly Royal Galas. There was another variety with a weird name that I couldn't pronounce. But I think they were the best apples I've ever had. They were
Hats off.
unbelievable.
Hats off to an apple.
Hats off to an apple because I don't know enough about the game to award it to a player. So my hats off goes to a piece of fruit in a different country that we're not in, so none of you can enjoy it, except, of course, our Trans-Tasman listeners.
Yeah.
So if you can, hopefully the tariffs haven't affected apple imports into Australia from New Zealand.
No, that would be
Have we
terrible.
tariffed New Zealand?
Well, yeah, we
In my-
usually do
while
what
I
the
was
America
gone.
does, don't
Yeah.
we? So we should start tariffing our little fiefdom.
Yeah, did we tariff New Zealand while I was gone? I don't know.
Yeah, I
I wasn't
don't know.
paying attention to the news.
But were you eating those apples? Did you feel
Oh,
hurt in
loved
the?
them.
Yeah, did you
Yeah.
feel hurt in the pockets eating
No.
those apples?
No.
Was it just like they're throwing them out?
They were
willy-nilly?
very,
It
very.
seems like a lovely place.
They
to
were very competitively priced, those apples. I'll tell you.
I've watched it when they crossed to New Zealand in the cricket, and they have just this nice, Maori fella. How do you say that? Maori?
Maori. Yeah.
Something like that. That guy, and he's just out there, and he is just sunshine and rainbows.
Having
He's
a
just
great
going around,
time.
It's like, no, my blah blah blah. It goes just the whole thing.
They're
It's
a
just-
joyous people.
It seriously feels like
Yeah.
some sort of Muppets land of happiness.
Well, the one thing I did learn that not many people in New Zealand are from New Zealand. It's all foreigners.
Oh,
and I'm allowed to say it because I was a foreigner there.
Yeah, you recognise your people.
I did.
There's nothing wrong with recognising your own people.
You're pale.
At least
and
not yet.
You're pale and you've got a Northern European accent. We're probably cousins. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
And to stick with the food theme, my hat's back on has to go to the large bowl of fondue I ate on one night when our only available toilet was in the van that we were sleeping in. If you only take one piece of advice from me, Jousters, never eat a large bowl of 4-cheese fondue and then sleep in the same van that your toilet's in. So that hat's back on this week goes to me.
Can I get any more details than that, or do I not want them?
Nope.
No
Nope.
more details?
Nope.
No, just a little
Nope.
half a hint.
Yep.
Liking
that's
it just something else?
Just make of that what you will, Jousters, but that's my hat's back on.
A little
for
bit
the
of a
week.
tease.
It goes to me. It goes to me. So, try it. Try it if you want, but try it at your own peril.
Okay.
And so I guess from there, we want to look forward, not backwards. Twirling, always twirling.
yes.
To next weekend, we'll be playing in that very ditch that I went across to, because it's an away game, isn't it? It's in New Zealand.
Yes.
Because the boys are already there. I saw they visited the Canterbury Crusaders, I think.
Did they just?
Yeah, they did.
Uh,
They said, this is a winning team. We don't know what that's like. We need to watch another team do some winning stuff.
So the Crusaders are all right?
Don't know.
No idea.
Maybe. I don't know.
No idea.
Yeah.
You really got nothing over there, did you? No news at all.
No.
Even the existing news you
None
had left your body.
whatsoever.
That's
Yeah,
wonderful.
everything left my body. It was great. I wasn't paying
It's like
attention.
the Severance elevator straight to New Zealand.
That's exactly what it was. Yeah. Now, Sam, are the Warriors good this year? I don't know. I can never tell with the Warriors. It's impossible to
Do
tell.
we even know who is good this year?
I don't think we do. It's been a weird season like that. Like Melbourne was good, and then they got beaten by the Dragons,
They got beat by the Dolphins as well.
and then they got beaten by the Dolphins.
And we beat the Dolphins.
And then all of a sudden, the Dragons were good for a bit. Now the Dragons aren't good for a bit. You've got Canterbury, who are having a sustained period of goodness.
And they just got bloody paddled tonight.
And they got paddled tonight. So who is good in the NRL? There's no way to tell. Usually you'd have a very traditional one team's first, that means they're good, or one team's last, that means they're bad. We haven't got that this year.
Does that mean we're good?
No. We're the only team that is basically categorically not good.
So we're bad.
We're bad.
We're bad.
We're the only team that is definitively bad.
No, that's
Other
not good.
teams are arguably bad.
Well, let me look at this ladder.
Newcastle
Let
Knights
me
are
look at this ladder. Let me look at
definitively
this ladder real quick. Let me look at this ladder. Can I have a look at the ladder? Mr. Buttons.
Where is it?
No, forward. The other way. Looking forward. Looking forward.
Looking
forward.
Yeah, no, well,
forward.
forgot to add those team lists in there. We'll have to.
We can fix that in post.
Here we are. We are 14th, as we're well known.
Which is bad.
Eels have the bye.
They do.
And we're ahead of the Panthers and the Roosters.
What a bizarre year. This is maybe the strangest year of rugby league I've ever seen so far, and I've missed the last 2 weeks. And I'm befuddled. I don't know what to make of it.
And we got 4th place Warriors.
The Warriors are in 4th. What the hell's going on in rugby league?
But
The world's gone topsy-turvy.
I don't understand. And the Drake. This is.
What's going on?
Who do we beat? We beat the Tigers and the Dolphins, and they're both ahead of us.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
And
It's
we got-
absolutely bizarre.
No, no.
Yeah.
I hate
But
it.
anyway, so the Warriors are in 4th, so they'll probably give us a paddling. They've got a lot of good players. They've got a lot of young blokes on the bench coming through. We do, of course, have the return of Dylan Lucas. Now, we did want to discuss our second row picture.
Yes.
So we've got the return of Dylan Lucas. He will be lining up beside Kai Pearce-Paul in the second row. I think that's going to make a huge difference. Tommy Cant, God bless him, he's done a wonderful job filling in for Dylan Lucas in the second row there. And rounding out the forward pack, so we have on the flyer picked it up. Tyson Frizzell remains at prop, so Frizzell and Leo
Do
Thompson.
you like Fridge at the prop?
Hey, he's fine. He's
Yeah.
fine. I mean, he's better than having
Mr.
no one
Nagy
at
doesn't
prop.
like it because he feels like he should be, the gazelle in the second row. But
I did
feel
prefer
like,
him as a gazelle in the second row,
but I
but
feel like his body, he's like calcifying.
He is,
in
isn't he?
turning into
Yeah.
a prop, just like all those muscles in his neck and everything are just.
that's it. I feel like for a player like him, it's inevitable that he returns to the middle. Maybe it's just happening sooner than we thought it might happen. And then, of course, we have
Our halves pairing is back.
another new halves pairing. Sorry, yeah, back to it, the original halves pairing. We have Jack Cogger will be playing jersey number 20, which I love to see. I always love to see a jersey number from outside the greatest
It's
squad.
gonna be a pretty bung finger still, doesn't it?
I would imagine so, but again, we need him. We need him. Anything to avoid putting Jackson Hastings in the team. I reckon they'd play Jack Cogger with a bung everything ahead of putting Jackson Hastings in the team.
Did old Gambler, Mr. Gamble, responsibly get the arse entirely? He did.
Let's have a look. He
He's gone.
got the entire arse. He got the whole arse from Adam O'Brien. They said, "You have one arse. We're getting rid of the whole thing." And so we've
Gets one black ball a
we've
week.
turfed him. Yeah.
But just what do you think about this ostracizing of Jackson Hastings?
Oh.
Granted, he seems to do it to himself.
Well, I
and that's
mean,
what really hurts, according to
it
Radiohead.
seems to be the case at every single rugby league club that Jackson Hastings has played for. They've eventually found a way to get him out of the team and said, "We're never going to put you back in the team." And he says, "I don't know why they always do this. Everyone seems to hate me. I don't know why. Maybe it's because he's a fuckwit."
Yeah, maybe.
Remember
it's
last
like
year we categorically said we don't think he's a fuckwit.
No, we don't.
Other people do.
Yes.
I think we think it now. If he's not getting back in the team when the halves are being rotated regularly, as they are, I think it's now painfully obvious that he just is a dickhead and no one wants him in
Yes,
the team.
it's circumstantial evidence, but you
Yeah.
know, people have been convicted off less.
Where there's smoke, there's fire.
And where there's a fuckwit, there's Jackson Hastings.
Exactly, yeah. And he seems to be a flaming asshole. So I think
Imagine just like
like he's eating a whole bowl of fondue.
Congratulations, by the way.
yes, you just shot a bunch of Jackson Hastings
Yeah.
all over the inside of that camper van.
Oh my god, didn't I ever? But yeah, look, I like the look of the team, but I just don't know what the hell's going on with the team. Now I've got a bit of a theory though. So
Oh.
the downslide of the Knights began maybe 4 weeks ago, thereabouts. When did Phil Gardner step down as manager of the club? What was he? Was he manager CEO?
Yes, he
Yeah.
was
When
the,
did he
the Grand
step down
Poobah.
as the Grand Poobah?
That would have been around 2 or 3, wouldn't it?
So is this maybe the team saying we stand with Phil?
Ooh.
Are they saying we want Phil back? Peter Parr, thanks for coming, but we don't want you. We want Philip.
Yeah, we're more of a constant gardener kind
Yeah.
of people, and they just he is a strange cat,
He is a strange fella.
and we're a strange club.
And strange clubs thrive
And
when they
Peter
have
Parr
strange
is
people
a-
in charge.
And Mr. Vanilla,
Yeah.
we can't have Mr. Vanilla in charge.
No, apparently not. It's not working.
We need the guy that wears a suit on a 45-degree day, who looks like he's about to, tell the help to
And
go
every
get
once,
stuff.
and every once in a while he'd wear a hat, and we'd all say, "Why is he wearing a hat?" He would have told the help to do that. That's for sure.
No, he doesn't look like a guy who treats the help well.
No, not at all.
But-
And we know that because one of our hosts was previously the help. in Philip Gardner's company. So I think we have a bit of insight into that.
But the Knights themselves aren't part of the help.
No.
No, we are part of the establishment, and so we get along with, Mr. Gardner. But now,
So who's the help then? The ball boys?
Jackson Hastings is the help. We told him to get stuff. He says, I want to help, and we're like, nah.
No, not you.
not you.
Anyone else? Yes, you can help. Not
Yeah,
you.
not you.
So maybe that's why Phil left. He said, I'm sick of Jackson Hastings. And then he left, and everyone was like, yeah, we're also sick of him. And he said, well, shit, I shouldn't have left.
Well, maybe we can't come out and say, maybe it was just the team bonded over the fact they all hated Jackson Hastings under the cloak of darkness.
Yeah, the unity of hating one person.
Exactly. But once you bring it out into the air, then everyone hates him.
Mm.
That's not fun anymore.
No, it's
and
not.
they've lost the thing they bonded over.
There's nothing quite like mutual hatred to bring a
Exactly.
people together.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
why we're keeping him around.
And
they
that's
knew
it.
that.
Maybe he's
like in a
Jackson.
cage in the bottom of McDonald Jones. There's Jackson with his bionic leg.
Is he the most noble person in the team for taking the hate?
Yeah, or the
Sticking
monk.
around?
Well,
The monk?
he's a very
I
penitent
don't
man.
think he has the
Yes.
choice in the matter.
The mad monk is doing what he can, even if he's not allowed to be within 100 meters of the team.
And he's getting paid almost $1 million to do it.
That's disgusting. What you've just said is disgusting words. I don't like any of it. Do not
Yeah.
pay that man his money. That's all I'm saying.
Now, we've gone wildly off topic because I don't think we really wanted to talk about that game, and I'm glad that we didn't.
Well,
Are
you
you-
give us a hope in hell in New Zealand on Anzac
Well,
Day
no.
with our jersey.
No, having just been over there and seeing how joyous their people are and how much fun they have and how good the pies are, I don't think they've got a chance.
What if we show up in our blue shorts like we were reported to be seen in?
Are they saying blue shorts and that green and brown jersey?
Apparently, the jersey shorts that go with the jersey aren't ready
Oh, really?
at the moment.
See,
As of
if
recording.
if Phil was in charge, this never would have happened.
No.
We'd have the shorts in my inbox.
No,
right
he would
now,
have had
my
the help
mailbox.
onto that quick smart.
He
The
would
help
been-
would have been scared. They would have heard his thunder footsteps coming down the hall.
That's what happens when you don't have a despot in charge. Things take time and things are late.
Exactly.
Mussolini didn't make the trains run on time. That's a lie. That's a lie.
Who did make the trains run on time?
No one.
I've never seen a train
know,
on time in my life.
I will say, New South Wales trains.
The Whitlams. The
Oh,
Whitlams
yeah.
made the trains run on time.
They also destroyed the pokies. They blew them all
yeah,
up.
Tim Freeman is a man of espionage.
And a man of action. Espionage and action. You know who else is a man of action, Sam?
Who's that?
Kate Chesworth, the
Oh,
appliance guy.
my favourite
If you
fella.
need an appliance fixed, if you need a real man around your house and you need action, give a call to Kate Chesworth, the appliance guy.
I think I remember the number. I believe it goes
0414 760 542.
See, it was
I'm
like I remembered
very, very
it.
good
It just like
stuff.
came out of my memory. as I thought it happened.
Costanza. So, the appliance guy, of course, dear friend of the show.
Dear friend.
Now, join us next week, Joust, to discuss all things Newcastle Knights
Yes.
and New Zealand Warriors. I will have actually watched that game, so it'll be far more interesting.
But I'll
of
be
a
here
show.
next week, and you won't be here, and Nagy will be here.
Yeah, the musical chairs of the Joust hosting will continue going
I'll be
on.
Mr. Wind. You'll be on the buttons. It'll be
It's
beautiful.
going to be fun. So follow us on all those social pipes, Jousters, Facebook, Instagram. How does Nagy remember all this? Spotify, YouTube, TikTok, SoundCloud. I think we've still
You
have.
got them all, buddy. You
Apple
got them all.
Tunes, we've
We
got them all.
That's it.
Still won't do X because Elon's a dick. But join us next week, Jousters, as we talk about actual rugby league.
Man.
Ba-da-ba-dum. 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 Ba-da-ba-dum.